A devastating new earthquake shook southern Turkey and northwestern Syria today, just 2 weeks after previous quakes in the region killed more than 46,000 people and left more than a million homeless. The Ministry of Samaritans Purse had already mobilized in Turkey, establishing a 52-bed hospital staffed by nearly 100 medical experts. And I tell you what, we need to be praying for their safety and their well-being. Joining me now, after having just returned from Turkey to check out the operation there, is Edward Graham, Chief Operating Officer of Samaritans Purse. Edward, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Hey, Tony, thanks again for having us.
You're probably a little jet lagged, but you've just returned from the region. What did you see? What is your team experiencing there today?
Yeah, well, Tony, it's horrible to see. I've never seen destruction like that. And I've been in war most of my career. I've been around the world with Samaritan's Purse to look at disasters. But in Takia there, every building, if it's not flat and destroyed, it's cracked, it's broken. You won't be able to move back into these buildings. And this is the location of the ancient church of Antioch. So this community, where the UN says it's about 400,000, it was probably built for 400,000, but they've got a lot more there living there, especially after the Syrian crisis. You're going to have to bulldoze that entire city. So there's so much loss and destruction. You could smell the loss, unfortunately. In a lot of, there's been so many dead bodies in these structures that it collapsed. And then today, as you said, there was another earthquake. So these rescuers, as you see, this heavy equipment that's removing debris, now they got injured today. So our hospital has been flooded with patients today from this most recent earthquake.
How does Turkey see a way forward here? I mean, this is so massive, and the economy is not that strong in Turkey. Turkey doesn't have a lot of resources. I mean, is this an opening for NGOs like Samaritan's Purse to come in and minister holistically to the people there?
Yeah, the government of Turkey has an unbelievable challenge on their hands, and I think it's going to be years if they ever truly recover. So we need to be praying for the country. We need to be praying for their government. But for us, we work through partners because we're not registered in Turkey. And so we're working through an NGO there called First Hope, great partner, strong believers. Their leadership is unbelievable. And we're trying to work there in other ways. But right now we're meeting the medical needs, but we're also doing humanitarian needs. We're taking structures. We just flew our DC-8 over there with additional tents for housing. There's a huge housing need there. We're doing hygiene kits. The UN just got approval to operate, and it'll bring in more resources from other NGOs around the world. But Turkey has an unbelievable challenge, and I don't know how they're going to do it with the amount. I just saw one city. There's 10 cities that are just like it, that are destroyed just like it.
Now, I understand that while you were there, survivors were still being found in the rubble.
Yes, we had a couple, an older couple that came to us that hadn't been treated. They've been injured since the being pulled from the rubble, and they were just recently pulled, and they came to us, and she was in such pain. We also had a young boy that was recovered, that had been buried the whole time, and he survived. But you're at the point where they're going to find fewer and fewer. At this point, it's a miracle if you're pulled from the rubble. And now we have additional people that are being trapped. That are either first responders or they're people that moved back into structures that had no business being moved back into. Turkey's trying to keep people away from these areas, and they're clearing out these cities, but then they have to put them somewhere, and that's the other challenge. That's why we're going in with these tents and working through their version of FEMA, and trying to set up camps and make sure they have the right hygiene, the right wash program that goes along. And we do this all over the world, so it's stuff we're used to, but it is so much loss and death. I can't, to tell you this and to put a video up, it doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
How long do you anticipate Samaritan's Purse will be there on the ground in Turkey?
Yeah, I'm estimating just for medical 2 to 3 months until the government of Turkey no longer needs us and they've got their medical system back under their feet. But for reconstruction, how as long as Turkey needs us, I think we're going to be there for a while. We'll probably, if asked, open up a country office and do programming there. It's going to be a while before we leave.
How can our viewers and listeners be a part of what Samaritan's Purse is doing there? And I think this, Edward, I think this is so critical. As you talked about Antioch, this is where the church, in many places, it was birthed. This is where Christianity came from, and we're able to go back and show the love of Jesus as we meet the needs of these people.
Yeah, you're right. I actually went and visited what they believe to be the first church. It's up on a hill in a cave, and it overlooks the whole city. And I could see all these plumes, these dust clouds coming up, and that's where excavators are working. So the church overlooks this city. First, I ask that you pray. Pray for the country, pray for the people that are suffering, pray for their government for wisdom, discernment. But if you're interested in what we're doing and you'd like to help, you can go to SamaritansPurse.org. There's ways that you can get involved. We're always going to need future disaster assistant response team members that are going out, doctors and nurses, electricians, people that I call MacGyvers that can do anything and fix anything with a Leatherman. But we just need your prayers. And if you can't join and work at Samaritans Purse as far as our DART team or disaster assistant response team, we ask for your financial gifts. But prayer is what Turkey needs most. And I just, it's going to be such a long road for their recovery. These people are hurting. We also saw a lot of Syrian refugees because of the war across the border. They have flooded into this area and they need help.
Yeah. Well, Edward, always great to talk with you. Thanks so much for that update. And we're going to encourage our folks to do just that, to be praying and to be volunteering and supporting the great work that Samaritan's Purse does. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Great seeing you as always.